Now here on the Wednesday session, Bitcoin is down just under 1%, 0.94% at the moment. Again, we've had a breakout. I've been warning you, bottom is in, surrounding key support at 74,000. Bitcoin's average price, we bounced off of it, bounced off the 50-week moving average. Warned you all of this before this rally ever happened. Bottoming signals, momentum flipping to bullish, and then the trend signal starting to turn bullish, and then Monday, we got the rally and flipped all the signals back to bullish. We had already had a bunch of them already flipping. This rally wasn't going to happen. No possible way. And yet it is. We've come up to the 100 period moving average. We're above it. Again, you get a pullback. The best moves don't. Show you that in a second. At the breakout of this bull flag pattern, or again, we can make a bullish falling wedge out of it. Here with the more recent price action, it's broken out, giving us the double bottom breakout as well. Now here, again, I've marked the double bottom. You can see the first bottom here, the second bottom. We've talked about this in great length and detail. You could throw back and get a back test if we drop back below the 100 period. We've gotten above the cloud. The cloud is turning bullish into the future. Again, we could get a back test, a big back test to the trend line. The best moves don't. We don't have to get a big back test. The other possibility is we back test the breakout. Could be we go higher before that back test happens, or it may not happen. Again, listen carefully. The best moves don't back test. That's a sign of strength. But again, the double bottom. I told you we had the 10 getting above the 20 period moving average. The 10 is the red line getting above the 20. Now it's above the 50. We talked about all that before the rally happened. We were warning that we're going to have a massive rally. Coin's going to end up going even much higher and eventually to new all-time highs. And it can pull back. Right now, we're down just a little bit, just under 1%. Bears are already screaming, bull trap, bull trap. The very rally that they told us wasn't going to happen. I mean, over here at the bottom, they're telling us we're going to have that crash. Trump's tariffs, and what happens? We bottom and we get that massive rally surrounding Trump pausing the reciprocal tariffs very day of the launch, which is what I've been telling you. That same thing happened, telling you it was going to happen, because again, we saw that with Canada and Mexico. Saw it in 2018, the pause back then. I thought we were in a bottoming process. I told you about all the bullish signals. Bears told us we were about to have this crash, 24,000, and surrounding the launch of the tariffs, and what happened? We bottomed. It was a sell the rumor, buy the news event. Talked about that at great length and detail. We have the RSI moving into the positive region. We have with the bullish divergences. We talked about this at great length and detail, and I told you it was going to mark a bottom. We got the MACD moving into the positive region. We're becoming overbought. You know, you could stay overbought for an extended period of time, or we could pull back. Eventually, Trump is going to announce a pause of the tariffs on China. Negotiations are going to be announced. We have Trump already saying things that are suggesting that, again, he's been talking to China, that he's hopeful to reach a deal. China's responded and said they're very open to, our arms are wide open to negotiations. Formal negotiations are going to happen. Get a much, much bigger rally. You're going to get another massive rally in the stock market. Rallying today on the hope rally surrounding this. The Treasury Secretary's comments yesterday and the hope of de-escalation, exactly what I've been telling you is going to happen. But we are told, no way it's happening. If we pull back, you want to watch the confirmation line of the double bottom. Again, we've had the breakout of the double bottom. It measures to 103,000. So again, that's a minimum objective target. We're going to go beyond 109,000 though, and end up again probably past 150,000, and maybe even as high as 160 or 70. A number's not my target. Trend line's my target. Weekly time frame, but because we've had this detour that's taken so long, it's only going to make Bitcoin go all that much higher. A number's not my target. A date is not my target. I can tell you that, hey, it could take us, into the summer, maybe into the fall to reach that, but the trend line of resistance is my target. I'm not going to be Nostradamus and say, we're going to peak on August 11th. at 11:34 a.m. and 15 seconds. If you're looking for a fortune teller, you're in the wrong place. Again, I'm a trader and I look at support and resistance. Absolutely incredible calls. My signals nailed this. And I told you I was building a position under the surrounding the moves under the 200 period moving average and just above it. Started the initial position, and then with this push down surrounding horizontal support at 74,000 at Bitcoin's average price. Absolutely incredible opportunities. Again, Bitcoin from the 74,000 area is likely going to double or more than double above 150,000. Please support the channel with the link directly below that allows me to be able to provide you this information. If you like the charts, you like the indicators, let me know that by supporting the channel today. If you could take a moment to do that, I would really, really appreciate it. I don't have any sponsors, just a direct relationship with you. I turn those offers down. Don't want to sell you stuff, but I need to hear from you in order to make that work. Follow the link below to take you to a secured site, and you can donate any amount you want or make it a recurring donation. And I thank you for your consideration for that. I will likely make a very short video showing you some other indicators on Thursday, trying to work in some of my different indicators, but I'll try to do a brief update. We're having a lot of big swings on Bitcoin up and down with the sell-off, now with the rally. Probably do a video on Thursday, so check back maybe Thursday afternoon for that. More about this chart in a moment. Quickly, we're getting the 50 back above the 200 here on the 60-minute chart of the Bitcoin ETF IBIT. And again, coming back, filling this gap. So again, we could end up pulling back. It's possible if we get a pullback, you can pull back to the confirmation of the double bottom, or you can try to back test the trend line and move back towards the 200 period moving average and fill some of these gaps. Certainly possible. But again, the best moves don't pull back. We've had these divergences play out on the 60-minute chart of IBIT, and very similar to what we've had on the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin. Bullish things continue to happen. Watching some of these gaps, if we do get a pullback, to try to backtest the breakout of the double bottom or backtest a breakout of the trend line. Again, I warned that Bitcoin was going to get back above the 200. The 50 was going to get back above it. We saw that happen. We consolidated above the 200, and now we've seen the surge, and the 50's gotten back above the 200 here in the 4-hour time frame. Pring parameter, validating that with the bullish diversions right here. The bottom is in. We've continued to bottoming signals. The momentum signals turn bullish. Here, above the cloud, we got above the 50 and the 200, and now we've got the bullish golden cross here in the 4-hour time frame. You're eventually going to see that happen in the daily time frame. Again, we could still go higher before any kind of meaningful pullback. Did you hear what I just said? We can continue onward and upward. Parabolic before we get any kind of meaningful pullback. That's certainly possible. We could have it happen right now if we start to see that. I'm showing you in this video the levels to be watching. Breakout of the double bottom and the trend line, the broken trend line. But again, if we start going parabolic, we may go above 100,000 before Bitcoin gets any kind of meaningful pullback, or towards 100,000. Overthrow it. Announces a pause of the China tariffs, formal negotiations. We could see Bitcoin surge back up to test 109,000 very, very quickly. Stock market follow Bitcoin and rise towards its 200 period moving average in the daily time frame. Bitcoin's already overthrown it. The stock market is going to eventually do it. If this week or in the next day or two, possibly next week, we hear Trump announce he's pausing the tariffs on China, that they're going to announce formal negotiations, or maybe, again, they're negotiating behind closed doors, as the recent Zero Hedge article suggested, but has acknowledged that he's talked to China. So again, wouldn't be surprised to see an announcement that he's pausing the tariffs, formal negotiations happen, negotiating the announcement of negotiation. So we'll see what happens. Again, I just wanted to update you here again. We saw the bottom right here. Okay. Then again, I told you we're in a bottoming process, bottoming signals that very day, told you about all this. And then again, right here, before we had this big rally, this is the day of Trump's, the 9th, on Trump's launch of the tariffs. We got that big historic rally in the stock market, up 9.5% on the S&P, up 12% on NASDAQ. Big rally here on Bitcoin. Before that rally happened, again, I was attacked for saying we were in a bottoming process, predicting we were going to see countries come to the negotiating table. Trump likely end up pausing the tariffs like he did with Canada and Mexico. Oh, that's exactly what happened. We were told it wouldn't happen, and we got that massive rally with it there on the 9th. Got a higher low with Bitcoin. And then, right after that, 2 days after the launch, the pause of the tariffs on the launch day, then we got Bitcoin moving into a risk-on environment. Right here with this rally, we got the Bitcoin trend going back to bullish. It remains bullish. Turned bullish a couple of times during the downtrend, couldn't do it. Tried to move into risk on with the rally, but it failed, and we ended up getting that double bottom pattern. But again, right now, we're back in a risk on environment. The Bitcoin trend is bullish. We'll probably see some kind of pullback at some point. Could just keep going parabolic, though. We end up getting an announcement surrounding Trump pausing the tariffs on China and what the Treasury Secretary called de-escalation between the U.S. and China, which, again, the markets are rallying on a rally of hope, exactly what I've been predicting. And again, Bear is doing exactly what I told you they would do. They're screaming, bull trap, trend rally. Finally throw in the towel once we start aggressively moving to new highs, which Bitcoin will do. Remain now with this reversal that's happened down here, again, surrounding pause of the tariffs, which again, Bitcoin was about to crash. I told you it better not. Below 74,000 and stayed below it. It bounced off of it because if it did, that would be extremely bearish. I told you a bounce would be very bullish, which is exactly what we got. I remain extremely bullish on Bitcoin. We remain in a risk-on environment. I told you surrounding that bounce off Bitcoin's average price, surrounding the bounce off horizontal support at 74,000, we began to see momentum signals, and then trend signals all began to turn, and now we're above that 200 period moving average. Again, we could get a pullback. We'll see what happens. We may go much higher before we get a pullback. Again, the best moves do not pull back. I warned you about all these bullish divergences that were forming down at this low, and again, the bull flag. We've seen the breakout of that. Then we began to see signals turn back to bullish. Here we saw momentum turn back into the positive territory, the green background, cloud turn back to green, and then now we're seeing the green bars here validating the change in trend. My last update, I showed you some of my signals that were flipping. Didn't have a chance to show you them all, but again, more of them in this video. Again, we had the flip here. First, we saw momentum begin to flip, and then the candle slipped with the breakout right here of the trend line from this high and this high. And I talked about the two different trend lines, the one slightly excluding the shadow here, connecting to these other peaks, and this one right here, where we did see that breakout. Still back-test the trend line, but absolutely incredible signals. My signals, which are correct. Again, bottoming signals, momentum shift, and now we're seeing the change in trend. And again, here, I'm looking at the swing moves, and it's telling me with the breakout. Here's both trend lines. So one trend line here connecting the high here with these the peak over here slightly excluding the shadow with this peak right here, this peak right here. We broke out of that already. We saw the bars begin to turn back to blue on Saturday. I talked about that. We tried it a couple of times. Prior to that, it failed, but on Saturday we did it. Continued to get it on Sunday, and then we get that massive break again. I told you we needed to see a surge on volume, big wide range bar. We got it, and that happened on Monday. Bigger rally on Tuesday. Now again, bars can still remain blue. We can still get a pullback. Said if we get an announcement out of Trump about pausing China's tariffs, we could see a big surge before we get any kind of big pullback, and this thing could continue on above 100,000 very easily. And again, the double bottom measures to 103,000. Actually, we're going to go above 109,000, but again, even on a pullback, a deeper pullback to here, back test one of these trend lines, it'd still get another higher low, likely setting up here. I don't know that we pull back. Again, the best moves don't. Did you hear what I just said? We may not, or we may just pull back to here. We may not even pull back to the breakout of the double bottom. If we do pull back immediately, those are the levels I'll be watching. We may go, listen, we may go much higher before we get any kind of meaningful pullback whatsoever. If we do pull back, you want to be watching this 88,500 area, the breakout point of the double bottom. You want to be watching the trend lines down here in the low 80,000 range, right around 81 or 82 to 83,000. And I don't know that we pull back that far, but it's possible. You often get back tests of trend lines, but if this is a parabolic, powerful move, then you may not see it happen. The best moves don't back test. Those are the levels that I'm watching. Again, I programmed the bars to tell me when we're going to have a change in the swing move. When we get the red going on, it's telling me we're either going down or we're going sideways. When we get the blue, it's telling me we're either going sideways or up. And again, absolutely amazing signals. Calling pullbacks and sell-offs and rallies, reversals. Here I'm looking at the more shorter-term swing moves, the shorter-term trends, the swing moves up or down, okay? Again, I create my own indicators. And I create so many, I name them to keep it straight. I want to show you the longer term trend. Here, the shorter term swing move, it's turned back to bullish, okay? Now here I'm looking at bigger picture, the longer term trend. I'm looking at the longer term trend here, the bigger picture. When we began to turn, again, red, but it came later. I just showed you with the swing move at the shorter term trends. This is looking at the longer term trend. And it did go bearish over here, and we got red bars going down to Bitcoin's average price. But look what's happening now. We get back above the 50. We get back above the 200 period moving average. And again, there's probably going to be more work to be done to get that 50 back above the 200 period moving average. It's eventually going to happen. But look what happened yesterday. We're getting a blue bar. Okay, and again, this uptrend, there's only been, four times that we've gone red. Each time we've gone back to the blue bars, resumed the advance and made new highs. This is why I believe that I'm going to be correct. New all-time highs with Bitcoin. And here I'm looking at the longer-term trend, not just this shorter-term swing move, okay? And again, if we zoom out from the bottom, let me just zoom out a little more here. Back in 2022, again, we began to see the bottom end. We got back above the 200. Just before that, bars began to turn blue. And again, we came up here. We went sideways. We got a little bit of red. Got the death cross, but then we got back above that 200, back to blue bars. The 50 followed. Big surge higher. During our previous correction, we saw red bars reappear. The second time in this bull phase, we saw the red bars appear. We had all that choppiness. We ended up dropping 33%. Here we've dropped 32%, but you had red bars. Tried to flip it to blue, it failed, and we went down and made a new low, and we bottomed at Bitcoin's average price right here, and then tested it again, getting red bars, went up to the 200, it failed, went back, got a higher low, and eventually got back above the 200, pulled back to drop back below it to the 50 and bounced, got back above it, stayed above it this time, got the blue bars. So we saw the red over here one time, then over here for the second time, and then over here for the third time with this rally failing, trying to rebound off of that 200 period, ended up dropping and trading below it for a while and testing Bitcoin's average price, very similar to what we just had happen here. So here we had red bars. The first case of red bars since the bottom, second and then third, and now the fourth time. And now the bars are flipping back to blue right now. This is telling me that, again, it is very likely the advance is starting to resume now. And you can get a failure like you had right here, which ended up being a counter trend rally. That's possible. The bars can remain blue here. Looking at the longer term Bitcoin trend, then again, it's likely that we're going to go make new all-time highs. Then I'll be looking at my other bars for the shorter term trend. Those, if they can remain blue consistently, turning red and then back to blue and marking a larger blow off top move, again, I'll be watching for the red bars there, and eventually it will be confirmed here once we get a top. But this is telling me, hey, on the right track and thinking that, again, we were going to rally. First of all, that was correct. We bottomed. That was correct. We will probably continue all-time highs and, again, complete the blow-off top. So this is very encouraging to me because the last couple of times in the bull advance, when you got the blue bars, you had some spectacular runs higher. Over here, we got the red, we got the blue, we had this move. Over here, we had the red. Well, this one failed, but after this one, then we had this move. So again, we're likely going to see another big push. And after the red at the bottom, we had this move, and then we went sideways. So again, some powerful moves higher surrounding the new blue bars during this advance. So this is now the fourth time that we've had red bars. We're now getting blue bars telling me that, again, the bottom is likely in, the advance is now resuming, and we're probably going to go make new all-time highs. Complete the top. Just remember all the bearish sentiment down here, because again, once we top, the herd is going to do, and the moon boys are going to do exactly what they did back at these tops, and they're going to tell us no way Bitcoin's going down, rally's just getting started, and all the rest of the nonsense that they're going to say, ride it all the way back down. Bitcoin's going to eventually price in the recession, but it's probably going to top at much higher levels later this year, and the next 3 to 5 months, Bitcoin's going to move to new all-time highs, probably move above 150,000, and it could go to 160, 170, maybe 175. It could go higher than the 150,000 area, depending on when it reaches my target. It's the upper channel line I've been talking about in my videos, but just wanted to show you this because the bigger trend, not just the shorter term swing move, longer term trend is trying to flip back to bullish. Again, we're going to have more choppiness probably. Maybe we go higher and they get it. Maybe we get it immediately because you got to get that 50 back above the 200. There's probably going to be some choppiness around here. Maybe we go higher and then get the pullback. We'll see. This is very encouraging to me that I'm on the right track. Like I say, if Trump ends up announcing that he's pausing the tariffs on China and we see the negotiations, formal negotiations begin to happen, if he announces a deal and they're negotiating behind closed doors and we just don't know, again, it is very clear Trump is talking to China. He has said so. We don't know to what extent he's talking to China. Are they just, talking about the terms of negotiating, terms of pausing the tariffs? Probably. Then announce formal negotiations, announce the pause of the tariffs on China and the retaliatory tariffs. China pauses their tariffs. This is extremely encouraging. Looking at that longer term trend, showing here the swing move is turning back to bullish as we correctly predicted before the big rally took place. I'll likely post something tomorrow, so check back tomorrow. I'm going to try to post a little bit more as we've had this breakout now and probably big swings up and down as this reversal has now begun. Check back tomorrow. I will probably post a shorter video tomorrow, just a quick update. Now, I continue to point out that we have the bullish reversal of conditions, the blue bars, the green cloud here. We had that. This is Bitcoin futures bouncing off the 200 period moving average as Bitcoin rallied up to the 200 period moving average, and then has now overshot that level to break out of our double bottom pattern. Again, I pointed out that we had the diversions on the MACD, on the awesome oscillator, talked about this at great length in detail. Told you that we were going to get a massive rally before it happened. Bears were going to scream bull trap as they're now doing. Again, we were told we were going to have a Black Monday style crash down at the bottom, and I told you that, again, we were going to bottom surrounding the launch of the tariffs. It was a sell the rumor, buy the news event. I talked about that at the bottom. We talked about the bottoming signals at the 2 days of the bottom on the 7th and the 9th. We were going to see this bullish reversal of conditions here eventually spill over into the weekly time frame and give us a bullish reversal of conditions. Oh, gee, what's happening? We're trying to get a bullish reversal of conditions. The bar is still red, but we're trying to clear the cloud here. And again, I told you this was either going to happen this week or next week that we get a bullish reversal of conditions. And again, we're attempting it right here, right now. Again, I told you eventually we're going to see the awesome oscillator turn up here, formed this massive divergence. This divergence gave us this sell-off of 32%. The next divergence will give us the top on Bitcoin. Again, and the MACD turning back up, you're going to get a massive divergence. This could take us into the summer. This could take us on into the fall. The next 3-5 months or so, you're going to get a massive rally on Bitcoin. See the same thing. The stock market's now trying to play catch up. The S&P was rallying this morning, pulled back, but again, the rally of hope I've been predicting. China's going to come to the negotiating table, that Trump's going to pause the tariffs, China will pause the retaliatory tariffs, could even see Trump just reduce them greatly. Regardless of how it plays out, again, I've been predicting that. The bears have been telling us, no way that's going to happen. Yet, we're seeing the rally of hope as I predicted. Now the bears are doing exactly what I said they would do, even with Bitcoin, even with the stock market. They're yelling, counter-trend rally. This is the rallies that they told us with Bitcoin and the stock market. There's no possible way it was going to happen. At the bottom, they were telling us we were about to have this massive Black Monday style crash. I told you we were bottoming. Absolutely incredible. Bears, once we finally move to new highs, the bears will finally throw in the towel, and again, we'll be setting up the market top. That's what usually happens. Again, trying to get the bullish reversal of conditions here this week. I've been talking about this since we talked about the bottom a few weeks ago.